Welcome back. This is Indigo Moon. You know, we all face personal growth in so many different ways. Nobody is perfect. We're all making mistakes. But even when we make mistakes, we do have to hold ourselves accountable and try to make the better choice, you know. Sometimes you have people in your life and they're teaching you a lesson while they're teaching themselves a lesson as well. They can start a channel and just throw dirt on people's names on this channel. And they're doing it in some cases to get attention or to make another person look bad. But when you're making another person look bad, it's not necessarily making you look good either, or even better for that matter. Then you have some people who throw dirt and hide their hand. Well, that same dirt is still on those hands, even though they've hidden the hands, right? It's important that we realize that in order for our society to become better, we also have to look at our own trials and tribulations and look at our mistakes and say, okay, I could have handled that better. And figure out a way in which you might be able to handle it better the next time. Recently, I was in a store, a thrift shop. And while in that thrift shop, two boys come into the thrift shop. The younger boy, is looking at the older boy, but you could tell he's the meek one. And the older boy, I don't know whether he's just attention seeking or what have you. There was an autistic child in the store his mother had just calmed him down. And when the boy came into the store, he began doing a lot of cursing. There was an elderly woman in the store, and all I could think of is, oh my goodness, this could not be. Could he have possibly been at somewhere else? Anywhere but here, because you could tell when he entered the store, and there were children. These two boys were children. They weren't with a parent or anything. You could tell they probably were coming in to look at certain things in the thrift shop. I mean, people come into the thrift shop to see little knickknacks. Perhaps they would have found the costume. Halloween's coming up. I don't know. But they were in the store walking around. And the older boy, you could tell he was touching things and pushing things around. He must have been going through something. But all that cursing he was doing, the autistic child reacted first. And then the elderly woman moved to the opposite side of the store. And I'm observing this. It's really annoying. So I said, could you possibly just calm it down, tone it down a little bit? I don't have to MF do nothing. And he's cursing, and you could tell the little boy who's with him, the younger boy, they must be in school together. And you could tell he was embarrassed. So apparently he definitely had someone who had influenced him in some way. But the older one, or at least he was taller than the other one, it's like he was not stopping. And I'm looking at him saying, young man. And he's like, I don't have to do a MF thing and cursing and carrying on. And I said, but they can remove you from the store if your behavior does not calm down. I'm trying to help. You ain't helping us, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I've taught in other states before, and I've never had an unruly student such as this, but this was not a student and this was not a school. In a school environment, you can, talk to the child outside the classroom. You could do, this was a child who I was not familiar with. How can you handle a situation like this? Back in the day even, it takes a village to raise up a child is what the proverb says, right? It's really something to be able to be in such a situation and not be able to handle it. There were men in the store, whatever, who chose to turn their backs or what have you. And sometimes, and I can't say they just turn their backs, it's just that how do you handle an unruly child who is not yours? I was hoping that maybe his mother was in the community, somebody who belonged, who he was connected to, who might be able to listen. And, I said, I don't understand why it is that you just, why you speak this way. That's very disrespectful. And with the last thing he said, I reacted and I said, I feel sorry for your parents. I did not want to say those words, but those words could not be brought back in. And after I said them, I said, you know what, I'm just going to take a minute, because I realized that I should not have said what I said, and I was reacting to him. So he walks down further and he's cursing. Now another woman speaks up and she starts talking to him. And that turned into an argument. Now I could hear this in my space and I'm thinking, how can I approach the situation better? I'd already said something that I could not take back. So now another woman comes and says something as well. So this has turned into something. With those individuals speaking to them, apparently someone from the back of the store comes out. I think it was a manager who asked that he be removed from that he leave. And he said some choice words before leaving the store. But all I could think of is, I know that there's boys and girls clubs all over the place. Perhaps I can Google it and figure out if they could maybe start reaching out to the schools in some way to help the community. But I was lost for words. We have to pray over situations like this. I had to ask for forgiveness because I don't know. The words had already left my mouth beforehand. Our communities need our help, and I have to figure out where I might be of service in this case as well. I'm going to reach out to the Boys and Girls Club and see if there is something that, maybe something we could do in the community to help our youth. This was a middle school student. At least he had to be around 11. And I used to teach in middle school. Well, I have taught middle school. I've taught every age at this point. But it's important that we figure out some way that we can help our community. Because this could be a small problem. This child's probably crying out in some way for help. And he needs, maybe a mentor or someone to talk to. Whatever the case, whatever the nationality, whatever, because, we could say, look at his background. We don't know what his background is. We could look at the young boy who looks like he was with him, and there was a lot of peer pressure going on. We're outsiders looking into the situation, not seeing the whole picture, not seeing what he might be going through at home. Our society as a whole is going through its own transition, but our children need help as well. So let us pray over the situation so that perhaps God will have a better answer for all of us to really find ways in which we can help in our community. So that's been my word. Thank you so much. This is Indigo Moon. I guess our world is in need of prayer. Thank you.